And there we go. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Happy Monday, everybody. So, Halal Stock Hunters, pick of the week. My name is Afiq, Chief Finance Ninja at Fast Free Finance, and I would love to introduce to you my buddy and partner in crime, Adi Ismail.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for coming on our show, and to Halal Stock Hunters. And thank you, Afiq, for introducing me. I'm actually ready to go. You had told me, right, there's 2 more stocks that we're going to cover today, so I'm quite excited. Right, Afiq? But as usual, I'll let you do the introduction.
So, folks, I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Have a look here. We are going to be talking. This is Halal Stock Hunters, 7th of June, 2021. If you've been watching us for the past few weeks, past couple of months, you know we usually do it on Sunday evenings. Well, we decided to shift it to today just for this week. And we've got 2 new very interesting stocks that we've been looking at, which we think might be good for your halal portfolio. At the same time, we'll also be reviewing our watch list. So if you know that we've been building a watch list of stocks to watch that we want to consider. And so right into it. Today, this morning, we are looking at DocuSign. Now, DocuSign, I'm certain some of us, or in fact, most of us have had some exposure to DocuSign somehow. It really is just an electronic agreement management system. I've personally have used it multiple times. What it does is it helps you to verify that your signature when you sign on a document is secure, end-to-end security, and that it is verified. So now a point to note about DocuSign is that their security has actually been verified and is up to the standards of the US government and the European governments. So it's really hard to be verified to follow those standards. And so, you know, it's a good thing. So now, knowing that we've gone through a pandemic and still are going through the pandemic, everything is moving digitally, everything is moving online. We're doing Zoom online, we're doing, look, Halal Stock Hunters is online, we're doing meetings online, and most definitely we're signing agreements online. And so I only see adoption rate for e-signatures and e-documents only increasing as time goes by. A bit of fundamentals, their revenues have been increasing over the past 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. It's just been increasing revenues year on year, and it is a fantastic counter, in my opinion, to hold long term. From a fundamental view, it is a very good counter for me personally that I would put to my portfolio for the long term. So of course, folks, as always, do your own due diligence. Adi and I do this for education and for entertainment purposes. Do your own due diligence before you purchase anything, and make sure you have a strategy in place. I'm going to throw the ball to Adi to show us his take on DocuSign. Adi, all yours.
All right, thanks so much, Afiq. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so I have a blank chart in front of me right now of DocuSign. It's on the weekly time frame. So as we can see, this particular stock IPO'd on 23rd of April 2018, and since the lows of around $38, right now the price closed at $233. So it's quite a long climb up for this particular stock. And as you can see, I just want to take note of a few things. During the last year's pandemic crash, I would say, right? So this particular stock was around $91.82, and then it fell to around 64. All right, Afiq. So I just want to say that, you know, most stocks actually fell a lot more than DocuSign. So I think that this stock is particularly strong. It has a lot of, I guess, investors who do not want to sell this stock, right? Even in a pandemic crash. And in fact, right now, I can see that this particular stock is still in its uptrend. But before I actually make any conclusions, let me just draw the technical lines. Right. So
It's a beautiful chart. If anybody has heard of DocuSign, I actually heard of DocuSign a long time ago. And I was just wondering whether it would be a good addition to my portfolio way back when. And I was thinking to myself, nah, people are still in love with pen and paper. And booms, all you need is a pandemic and everyone's online right now. Then how?
Right. So I've just drawn some lines here, Pick, and you can see that, you know, DocuSign basically went up as high as $290 with support, as we can see, a recent support actually being made at around this $179. All right. So it's looking quite good. We have a multiple touch points, right? Multiple touch points of this particular stock. As you can see, I call this a support zone because we do not have a single line there. We have a couple of points where price have actually touched the lows. Let me just mark it out with some arrows so that all of you guys can actually see clearly what I'm talking about. So, yeah, so we have one touch point here, the first touch point being made somewhere in July last year. And basically, we have another support here at around the September last year, and it actually tested again this zone. All right, so on November, so there's quite some volatility here. This is the weekly chart. So one candle represents 1 week, and we could see that, you know, during this period, price was actually moving within 223 and 185. So that's about 20 to 30% rise and fall in this region. So it is quite a trader's stock as well, right, Afiq? Because 20-30% can be made within weeks during this period, and even now actually.
Yeah, it is quite volatile, folks. So the word that we want to use is volatile. So volatility means how much it can fluctuate within any given time frame. Generally, if you want a safer play, then of course something that's low volatility, something that goes generally slower up. You know, and if you want to make some quick bucks, and unfortunately, we always tell you, don't ever look for just a quick solution, always have a good trading plan. But this could be a very good potential for, you know, both short and long term, right, Adi?
Yes, definitely. I like this kind of stocks because at the end of the day, if you enter, you know, if your entry is not so good, you might actually go into, of course, a little bit of drawdown, but you will not be too afraid of holding these kind of stocks for the longer term, right? I mean, we cannot actually be precise 100% of the time, right? I mean, that's nearly impossible to do, right?
Let's face it, if we were correct 100% of the time, I think you and I would be in our respective penthouses by now.
I know you're already in one.
Hey, no, HDB flat top floor is not a penthouse. It's not a penthouse. It's just a top floor of a flat.
On the way.
Soon, inshallah.
Okay, so you see that this zone here, I would say, okay, let me just draw it with a rectangle so that you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the zone. This is the support zone. And this zone of between 178 to 185 is where the buyers have come in for a couple of times already. And right now, price have actually broken above this particular slanting line. Let me just draw it in blue so that you can see clearly, right? So it has actually gone above this slanting line and has closed above it, which shows that it is quite a bullish sign. However, you can see that this channel here will provide resistance, all right, once it touches that point over there. So if it touches around here, I would expect some reaction back to the downside, right? So when it goes back down, that's when we will actually be loading up on this stock, right? I think there's a potential, right?
Yeah, that looks like a very, very nice channel that's coming down, right? That bullish pennant that you've taught me before. And again, the target pricing, I would say, is about 185-ish, right?
Yep, somewhere, right? Yep, somewhere around 198. In fact, $200 level is a potential buy opportunity because we have seen support at this region before it retested these new lows. But I think that if it comes back around 198, $200, it will be a good entry as well at that point. Because if it happens to come back here, then we might have an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Okay, let me just draw it for you so that you can see it. I know I'm sure you have spotted it too, right, Afiq? Can you see?
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, this is basically the left shoulder. And then we have this here, the head. And let's say we clone this, and let me just shift it to the right side. Somewhere around here, if it bounces from this region, then we could have a potential
reverse
head and shoulders, which is a bullish sign, of course.
Yeah, that looks awesome. As it comes down to about, like you say, about 200-ish. Yeah, you're right. So what we want to do is we're looking for a next higher low, right? Because we have two successive lows. Now the next one should be a higher swing low.
Yep. So as you can see, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to wait it out, and we're going to see a reaction. Hopefully that it happens here and it comes down. Sometimes price might just zoom up to the top side. It's okay. We're not going to chase. There's always opportunities in the stock markets, and we don't have to chase prices, because if you do that, you are putting yourself at in a potentially bad situation, because your risk reward ratio is skewed against you. Right? So if you don't understand what exactly risk reward ratio is and how to actually use risk reward ratio to your advantage, you might want to actually join us in Halal Investing Network, or sign up with one of our courses.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, we haven't really talked about it very much, but folks, if you've been watching us for the past few weeks, you know that Adi and I curate something called the Halal Investing Network VIP Circle. And in the circle is when we actually share a lot more technical tips, more details about these particular stocks. I mean, if you just look at this right now, just from the glance, you can see the patterns, but there are many, many more indicators, many, many more tips and tricks that we can use to determine whether these stocks are, are something for us to really, really want to hold. And on that note, with DocuSign, I would say I would wait for the target price to be about 200. I wouldn't add it to my portfolio right now. I wait for it to drop to say about 200, and then from there see whether we can hold long term. For me, it's a long-term play. Right now, if it drops down, it's a buying opportunity for me. What do you think, Adi?
Yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put some notes here. Buy on retrace at the $200 zone, so that we don't forget, right? So I'll just put, this is today's date, and then buy on retrace at the $200 zone. So if it reaches there around this region, then it's a buying opportunity, and we'll be ready to shoot with our bullets, right?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And folks, yes, it's so important to actually save up your bullets, not just to go fire blindly. And speaking of firing blindly, we'll be covering some of our stocks on the watch list later on. But today, I want to look at the second counter that we picked for the week. And the second counter for the week, let me share my screen really quickly. There you go. So the second counter for the week that we're looking at is actually something called MongoDB. MDB, MongoDB. It's a document-based distributed database software as a service provider. Right? Long story short, what it does is it does distributed databases. And if you're in tech or IT, you know that databases make up the backbone of almost everything. We are in the information age, and databases are nothing but pure information. So it's been used by some of the biggest names and biggest companies out there. Adobe, eBay, Google, EA, Intuit, which we covered, I think, a couple of weeks back, SAP even. If I'm not mistaken, one of our viewers did ask me about SAP. And SAP, while a good company, we have not covered that, and we are not going to cover it today. In fact, MongoDB is actually being used by the UK government as well. And so MongoDB, as a way from a service perspective, it used to be you have to maintain your own databases, your own SQL servers. I used to come from tech a long time ago, and knowing that having to maintain a database was really a pain in the butt. It was something that was so difficult, and you needed specialized manpower to be able to do it. And if that person called the database administrator was just unavailable and your database went down, kaput, that was it. And so MongoDB does it from a software as a service perspective, where everybody can have a database and have high uptime. The word is uptime. And so as we continue on in the technological age, there's only more demand for it. And I look at the revenues over the past 4 years, it's been increasing dramatically year on year. And I think that this, in my opinion, for me, I would add it to my long-term portfolio, buy and hold, and fire and forget. And that's from a fundamental perspective. So again, folks, do your own due diligence. I'm going to throw this back to Adi to look at the charts. Adi, what do you say?
Right, let me share my screen. Mongo, it sounds like an Indonesian word. Mongo means go ahead, right? Carry on and do, if I'm not wrong.
No idea.
No idea. Okay, anyway, just take a look at the stock. It IPO'd somewhere in 2017. That's about 4 years ago. And it was at about $30.71 at one point of time. And it went up to as high as $428. So you can see, folks, if you invest in good stocks, they can actually give you super good returns, right? That's like, even at this current price, you are talking about 10x, 1000%. So it's good for retirement. I guess if you put it 50,000 and it's now worth about $500,000, right? I think.
Yeah, definitely. If I look at the charts, you started just above $20. Now you're looking at $300. If only we knew this when we were younger, right?
Well, we're not too late actually. Anyone else out there who have not actually started investing in stocks can start investing in stocks, and you are not too late, right? There's always time, and even for you to actually learn and invest actively, right? And get involved in the financial markets instead of having just your passive portfolio. You can also do it on your own. And as you can see, we are talking about the weekly chart. So it takes time for price to go up and down, and there's always time for you to learn and at the same time invest. And you don't have to even start with lots of money. You can start with even $1,000 or even lesser, right? To actually invest. But my suggestion is, if you are going to be investing in the stock market, at least have a couple of $1,000 so that you can spread your portfolio across several stocks, right? So, okay, let's look at the technical analysis of this particular stock. A high was reached, right, around 10 of February this year. And let me just mark that point here with a horizontal line. Right, and since then we have price actually falling. 428, it fell all the way to as low as around $238. And right now we are at 315 after a couple of weeks of rebound. And I'm seeing that this particular stock might actually start to actually, go back to the upside. So if we draw sorry?
Do you think a reverse head and shoulders might occur from there, from where we're looking at right now?
Let me see. We have a resistance line here, basically, that has been broken to the upside. And I find that there's a lot of space here on the right side for price to actually go up. But just in case, price starts to actually retrace from this zone, I see this as the resistance zone at the moment. Okay, this zone needs to be broken for price to actually move up. And once it has gone above, there's not much to resist price from going towards the all-time high actually. So at this point, the structure of this particular, as you can see, right, Afiq, there's a W structure here,
Yeah.
W, right? And a W structure is actually a bullish structure. You can say that this is like a double bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with the right side being a bit higher. Okay, let me just draw the W so that everyone can see. Okay. In cipher, no, I'm not looking for this. The triangle rotated. There's so many tools on TradingView, right?
I know TradingView is crazy, crazy, crazy awesome. Actually, so many. I mean, I've known people who use TradingView not just for stocks, but they use it for so many other asset classes, even crypto, even currencies. No, it's awesome. It's very fully what do you call it? Full service, full fledged.
Yep.
Anyway, TradingView, if you're watching, sponsor, huh?
Okay, so I think this is the W that I'm talking about. If I can just thicken the line. Okay, so this is a W. We have the completion of basically a W formation. But what we are looking for is for it to become an M. Okay, so it will reach a certain point, and then after that, it will then start to have, if you take away this line, it will be an M, right? And after this completion of this M formation, we will then have the next W formation, the next move up. So at this point, like I said, this is like similar, right, to the previous chart. We need to actually see where's the turning point, and possibly we buy at a lower position, because you know there's a possibility of the price moving in this manner here, right? This area here, you can see that it went sideways. So we don't have to be actually be FOMOing. FOMOing, I guess you guys know what it means, right? What is FOMOing, Afiq?
I don't know, man. It was before my time. I've never heard the term before. FOMOing, fear of missing out, folks. And if you're in Singapore, one of the most popular terms in the 80s and 90s was kiasu, right? Nowadays you seldom hear the word kiasu. You hear FOMO now. So yeah, you FOMOs, not more.
So yeah, I think don't scold people for being FOMOing, because it's quite natural for a lot of people to do it. But that's why we have a community. We remind each other not to FOMO, right? That's why we do Halal Stock Hunters as well. So to also share with people not to chase prices and to always be patient, right? Look for a better opportunity before you enter. So in this situation, as you can see, I've drawn three rectangles. So this could be a rectangle where price is going to move sideways, right? So the price needs to break this point, but if we buy now, we don't have much upside if this is going to be the resistance, right? So we will wait for price to actually go lower before we actually even initiate a buy call. What do you think, Afiq?
I agree. It's going up. So right now I'm going to look at it and say my target buy price is what, 280? Is that about right?
Okay, hold on.
I can't really see. It's, getting a bit older, a bit smaller. I can see.
Okay, so you can see now?
Yes.
Bigger, right? So anything at this center point, right? The center part of this, around this center part of this channel, I would say, would be okay to actually buy somewhere around 280. But if it goes lower, you can actually buy more. Okay, so you can be buying here. Let's say I think we have, let's say, $10,000, let's say. So I will buy $5,000 worth of the stock at 280, and if it goes down to 239, I will deploy the next 5,000.
Yeah, this is called averaging down, folks. Averaging down, and averaging down does work if you're comfortable with holding the stock long term. So on my part here, I like MongoDB. I see it's got a good long-term potential, and so you've got to be able to say to yourself, fine, even if the trade doesn't go against me in the short term, I'm comfortable holding the stock for the long term. Then sure, pick it up and keep adding it to your portfolio. Of course, don't put too much into one particular counter. As they say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And as always, do your own due diligence. before you do anything. And so I would say, Adi, between DocuSign and MongoDB, we are not going to go into either one of this this week. We will be watching the price movements to hit our target price. Then we might consider putting it into our portfolio. Yes?
Yes, I think that's what we're going to do. We are basically going to buy value. And then when things go up our way and our stocks have appreciated, that's when we will realize our profits, right? Always buy low and try to sell high.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on that note, talking about high and low, let's cover two more counters in the next few minutes that we were looking at on our watch list in the preceding weeks. One of them was actually what the software we're using right now, Zoom. Right? Where is Zoom? Zoom, we set our target price. There was a target price and it looks very, very nice. You've taught me that that pennant is a breakout signal.
Bullish pennant.
A bullish pennant is a breakout indicator that might continue going up. What do you say, Adi?
Yes, this is definitely a clear bullish panel, and I have actually drawn all these arrows here. Once it breaks out, then we might see some sideways, or you can even just move up to the upside, right? So now price is at 336. The stock of Zoom have gone to nearly 600 at one point, so we are like at 50% off. And at the same time, I don't think that, you know, the pandemic situation is at the point where I can say we are over, you know, the worst periods yet. In fact, the COVID variants have actually become stronger and some countries are still struggling. So the use of Zoom, I'm sure, in the next few years would be across the board, I guess, in governments, in private sector. So most people will be using Zoom. And that's going to benefit their bottom line, of course, and of course their balance sheet. So that is the fundamental aspect of the company. But technical wise, on this chart right now, I'm just waiting for price to actually break above the resistance that I've drawn here at 336. And once it has done that, you know, we might wait for a retrace or we might buy on momentum.
All right. That's fantastic information. And so from my perspective, I think personally, Zoom could be a good counter to hold, especially long term. Again, folks, we are looking at COVID-19 not being eradicated anytime soon. Hopefully it is. Inshallah, you know, there's a cure that comes up. You know, we've really got the vaccines and so on. But looking at it this way, I think the dynamic of the world has changed, right? The dynamic of the world has changed. Everything is doing, everyone's going online meetings. And even then, there's some people I speak to, they want to do hybrid where, you know, partially in office, partially electronically and so on. So I would say, what do you think, Adi? Continue watching and then see whether we can go in sometime end of this week, next week.
Yeah, we will we will continue watching and we'll continue to see what's happening on the chart. But it seems right now that price at this point is testing actually this slanting line and trying to actually move up this slanting line. So let's see whether this week is the week that price of Zoom might actually close above those two resistance, the horizontal resistance here and the slanting resistance line here, right? So but if it does, then we might be basically looking into coming into this stock, right? I think put it in our portfolio and see how we could actually go about with this stock and maybe hold on for the longer term, maybe 6 months and see how it goes. Possibly it could go back to actually at least $500, $590 from where it is right now. Then that would definitely do good for our portfolio.
Yeah, that looks awesome. And so that's going on my bringing all the way up to the top of my watch list. Next one that's on our watch list, folks, is actually Moderna, mRNA. And so if you know anything about Moderna, this is one of the manufacturers that does the vaccines amongst the rest. And so this one looks very, very nice. The chart.
I think, can I just ask you, when did we start covering the stock?
Moderna?
Yeah.
Just a sec. Let me get that information for you. It's a very good question, actually. I should probably figure out when we did it.
Yeah, because I didn't put the date down, you see.
Just a sec.
Was it like about 2 weeks ago? I thought it was about 2-3 weeks ago, you know, and at that point in time, this is what we saw. If I'm not wrong, I could still remember vividly that, you know, we didn't see.
Where is it? I cannot find it.
This, okay, hold on.
Because we have Crocs, Freeport, TSCO.
This is what we saw, right? When we actually covered the stock, we saw 2 pintails, right?
Yeah.
And then it was, I said that it might be turning up. And then I started drawing all this line. I think we got to go back to one of our videos.
Yeah. Yeah, because I put it on my watch list, but I didn't put when I put it into my watch list.
I think we got to put the dates as well. I think if you could do just that, like for the stocks that we start covering, when did we start cover the stock, and you know, so that at least we can see the progress of the stock on the charts.
Yep, definitely. I'm just checking on our YouTube channel. Folks, if you can do us a favor, look for Halal Investing Network on YouTube and hit subscribe. That would be awesome, because we've got lots of tips there, and we record all our sessions, and you can find it on YouTube. So look for Halal Investing Network under YouTube, and we'll help you along the way.
Okay, I think it's okay if you don't have the details. Maybe we can get it later.
Yep.
No problem at all. So let me just look at this stock. I'm sure that time when we covered this stock, right, this particular resistance, right, this supply zone, or also called resistance, was already in place, and we did spot it, and we say that price, if actually cross above this particular resistance, it will go to the next level, which is around the $220. So right now it's at $206. The $200 round number level, it has actually been breached, and that's a very bullish signal, actually bullish momentum in the stock. As you can see, a trajectory is up. Moderna is basically benefiting because they are a company, like what Afiq said, is involved in pharmaceuticals. So they produce a vaccine, right?
Yep, they produce a vaccine, and I just found the answer. We covered it on the 30th of May, exactly a week ago.
Okay.
Moderna.
The 30th of May, so it should be this particular candle. Yeah. So, all right. Okay, 30th of May, yeah?
Yep.
This is the good thing about this particular charting software that we're using. We could do a lot of notes, and it could help us basically make better decisions, right, going into the future. So this is when we actually started and monitoring stock. As you can see, the price has gone up further. Kudos to Afiq for choosing this particular stock, and whoever who has actually taken note of it and even invested in Moderna would have already made easily about 10%, Afiq.
Oh, best too.
10% in 1 week.
10% in 1 week, folks. Again, all of these things, do your own due diligence. We can only do so much. We can do our analysis, but ultimately, you have to do your own research, to do your own risk mitigation strategies, and when to decide to fire the gun. And so for us, there's a lot more information about how we do things and what we do on our Halal Investing Network VIP circle. And if you'd like to sign up, do join us at halalinvestingnetwork.com. We've got specific offers for you to join right now. In fact, right now, the best value is the one that says 30% off 1 year subscription. Normally, it's at $69.90 USD per month, but if you take up a 1 year subscription, there's 30% off. Just go to halalinvestingnetwork.com, look for us, leave us a comment, subscribe, share, and follow us both on Facebook and on YouTube.
Do you want to share the website, actually, Afiq, on your screen?
Website. Let me open it up. Where is it? Halal Investing Network, folks. So if you want to have a look at this, this is how it looks like. We've put in quite a bit of effort. It's a very simple website, alhamdulillah. But there you go. Join the Halal Investing Network. Ta-da! So start making money the halal way. Click join now. Click join now and come and say hi. You can even join our mailing list to look for to look for the hottest tips and tricks that we'll be sending you. Of course, to get the most out of your experience, you want to join us in the VIP circle. There you go. VIP circle is usually at $70 a month, but just for you, we are having a 30% off. It's $560 a year. One of the best deals out there. So add to cart, sign up. Don't think about it. This offer will expire very, very soon, and it's only special for you, our viewers. Adi, anything you want to share?
Yep. I'm looking forward to you guys actually coming on board. Of course, like what Afiq has said, when you gain access to the VIP circle, there'll be weekly trading ideas and stock picks, tips on technical and fundamental analysis, and of course, a video library as well. Myself and Afiq, we intend to actually create videos for you guys on certain concepts, certain theories, and trading methodologies, risk management, and there's going to be a lot of stuff inside there, right, Afiq? So it's a lot of work for us, because a lot of research work, a lot of video recording, editing, and but we think that it's going to be worth it, because we want to help you guys out there, okay, basically invest the halal way, and do it, not just, tikam, but rather with knowledge, with the ability to practice technical as well as fundamental analysis, and also the other issues beyond that, things like trading and investing psychology, as well as understanding your own pitfalls. Each of us have our own inner demons, and we need to slaughter those demons. And myself and Afiq, basically these are the things that we are aware of, and we try to help our members that are in the community to not actually succumb to all those weaknesses and evil.
Yeah, folks, ultimately, I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years now. Adi's been doing it before I was born. And I've helped hundreds and hundreds of families really just achieve, put them on the path of financial independence. So it's not just about trading, because you see some people say, if you stop trading, you stop making money. And so here's the thing, you make an active income by trading, and then you put aside that income into a passive portfolio to grow your long-term retirement nest egg. And that's super, super important. Now, in HIN VIP circle, you'll actually get access to myself, you get access to Adi, you'll have, all our experience, our knowledge, our skills, all just distilled for you into the exclusive members only group. And so if you do have questions, do drop Adi a message on Facebook, do drop me a message on Facebook, find us online. We'll be more than happy to share with you a little bit more of the details. And of course, folks, as always, do your own due diligence, stay safe, wash your hands. This is Afiq, Chief Finance Ninja at Fasri Finance, co-founder of Halal Investing Network, and that is my partner in crime, Adi Ismail. Adi, last words.
All right, folks. It's coming to the end of Halal Stock Hunters again. I hope that you guys have actually learned something today. 2 stocks have been covered. I think these 2 stocks both are in the data and IT industry in general. So do take a look, do further research, and if you need any help, you can just message us and we'll be glad to help you, inshallah.
Yes, yes. And with that, folks, thank you for watching. Thanks, Adi, for your time. And of course, as always, I will see you at the next one, which will be our midweek review. Either we're going to do it this Wednesday or this Thursday. We'll see how it goes. All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, folks. See you at the next one.